Yeah, many parents say that my child doesn't want to talk. But in most cases, the problem is deeper than most people imagine. Because a child who is always learning around and can't sit and can't concentrate, it will be very difficult for him to actually slow down enough to process communication. Because for him to hear and process in the temporal lobe what he heard, it is going to require attention. So this is showing that two parts might be responsible for his speech delay. And if you know this, then you can have ways on working on this, which you've explained a lot in this book. So, which two parts that are involved in this? I'm talking about frontal lobe, because if the child is always hyper and is struggling to slow down enough to process speech, it is showing that he has problem with impulse control, whereby the motor cortex in the frontal lobe is not regulating well the movement. But also in the cerebellum, he needs cerebellum to coordinate speech, to make the speech more smooth by being well timed when the signals are reaching the mouth. So the problem in most cases, it's not because that the child does not want to talk, but in most cases you find the hyperactivity is very closely linked with this speech delay. Because for a child to speak, he needs four things to be working perfectly. He needs regulation. All parts need to be regulated properly, even the nervous system. The second, he needs better coordination. The cerebellum has to coordinate through the nervous, through the spinal cord and the nerves and the way the body responds. So all those have to be working very well. So the problem is not just the child speaking, but even how the speech is coordinated. Another thing, he needs attention. If the child is struggling to control his movement, how is he going to actually sit enough to hear and allow temporal to process? Because if I'm learning and I'm moving from this part to the other part, how will I be able to actually hear what you are talking about, what you are telling me? Because also my brain needs to process that. So as a parent, instead of focusing on making your child say this, say mama, say this, say that, say this, no. Actually, deal with this. Improve attention. This is very important for the speech. Attention, coordination, regulation, these are very important. Because without attention, how is he going to actually process the sound and language in the temporal lobe and get meaning and allow the motor cortex to send signals so that now he can start speaking? So, deal with hyperactivity, deal with improving attention, deal with improving eye contact, and your child will be able to speak. But when you focus mainly on making him talk, like he will end up making those like stored, because the more he hears them, the light hemisphere and the rhythm pathways will see them as stored patterns. He'll just repeat, say, mama, daddy, baba. But sometimes I've had cases with parents whereby the child calls everyone mama, everyone daddy. And you find he does not even understand who is mama, who is daddy. That shows that even his limbic system, of course, is affected. But when now you improve attention, you improve focus, now the child can have time to actually make speech of his own. Your child is not always stubborn. Sometimes his nervous system is actually struggling to regulate his attention, movement, and behaviors. Today I want to give you 5 signs that the hyperactivity your child have is not because he's stubborn. Actually, his nervous system is the one struggling to control his attention, behavior, and movement. Let me give you 5 signs. From today, don't blame your child. Understand him, and by understanding him, you can actually help him even more. The first sign, your child is constantly moving all day. This is one of the signs that many parents didn't know, but if your son is always moving from morning to evening, this is a sign that his nervous system actually is struggling to control his movement. So if you see him moving, Don't shout at him. Don't think that he's rude. Actually, he's even struggling inside. So instead of forcing him to sit down, forcing him to do this, forcing him to be in one place, understand that there is something happening inside which even himself he doesn't control over. That's the first sign your child is moving all day since morning up to evening, constantly. The second sign I want to give you, your child find it difficult for him to sit even for a few minutes. If your child can't sit, let's say 2 minutes, 3 minutes, understand him. Instead of blaming him, seek for intervention. Kirenga therapy can help you with this. Kirenga therapy is one of those therapies when we work on a child, after 7 days, 14 days, the child now, the nervous system comes down, and now it gains control over his movement and regulates even his attention. But instead of blaming him, always staying on the opposite side of your child, it's actually better to understand him and also engage him in these sport activities that we talk, which can actually help you to improve his attention and regulation. So the third sign I want to give you, your child has very short attention span. If your child cannot concentrate or have attention, whether he's engaged into a conversation or in a church or in a class or somewhere, this is one of the signs that what you see as hyperactivity is actually a nervous system regulation issue. It's not because the child is stubborn. The fourth sign I want to give you is poor coordination or walking. Many parents report that their children, I receive many parents on a daily basis, they tell you my child is always tiptoeing. So if you see that, that's also one of the signs that if he has that and he has got hyperactivity, from now on, don't blame him that he's hyper because he's stubborn, but he's having regulation challenges inside him. And the best thing to do as a parent is not always forcing him to sit still, but instead seeking for intervention to help nervous system regulation challenges so that now he can have control over his movement. The fifth sign I want to give you is speech and interaction challenge. So if your child is also have interaction issues or can't interact with others and have speech challenges and is hyper, this is also one of the signs that the hyperactivity you see him having, it's not because he's stubborn. Actually, his nervous system have regulation challenges, and that's why you see him moving all day long. And the best thing you can do as a parent, as a caregiver, is to understand him, and instead of forcing him to sit still, to why are you not like this? Why are you not like this? Actually, seek for intervention. You can use Kirenga therapy, which is very good at calming down the nervous system and reducing hyper and improving attention. Or you can do the exercises that we've talked a lot about in this book, Your Child Understand, Why Your Child Understands But Doesn't Speak, whereby if you apply these exercises that we've talked in the chapter 7, 8, and 9, it can help to improve body-brain connection, calm down the nervous system, and improve blood and oxygen supply to the brain, thereby helping with nervous system regulation challenges.